Somali and the Forest Spirit has quickly become one of the anime I'm most excited to watch every single week, because whether it's trying to pull on my heartstrings with adorableness and just moments that makes any ice-cold bastard melt in awe, or they're giving me something quite emotional and something fearful to be both excited and dreadful about the future of the two's relationships. This episode just continues to improve on the formula, once again making it the best episode that we've seen to date. And the series is just getting started. I think a lot of people were probably expecting Wolf Boy to most likely be either someone who knows she is human and wants to eat her for that reason, or knows she's human and maybe will cost a price to keep that secret under check. And the fact that he was just, Kikila's old master there, kind of like pulling him back up to the surface every time he went around. Usually those little like blue balls moments of you think it's a menacing foe to then realizing it was all just a gag for a cliffhanger, sometimes that can be disappointing, but when you have two little kids roaming, kind of exploring where they shouldn't, it kind of makes sense and was a great way to get us excited and show us something even better than we could possibly predict. I mean, towards the end of the episode, when you got Mr. Gollum basically saying, I can reacquire money, but I can't replace you, Somali, like, that was so adorable. It was so sweet, it was so amazing, but it was also a little painful, because the entire point of this episode was to get a flower, get it back to the surface, say what your wish is, and hopefully it will come true. And we know, logically, that the Golem's lifespan, from what we've been told, it is going to end, and we have no real reason to doubt that they can change it. And I mean, just having him by the end of the episode promise that he will be together forever with her, it's so perfect, but it's so painful. And I like the idea that he's not a perfect parent in the slightest. He is pure logic, and even though he doesn't understand it, he does have emotions, but it's hard to kind of fight them because he is so driven by logic. And to have just these parents basically saying, you know what, like, we're not perfect either, you're gonna make mistakes, so it's just about trying your best. And I like how this episode was the biggest test for him, because a simple fever could easily kill her, and who knows what could happen. And I like how, because he was rushing to the destination, and for good reasons, I mean, he is on a time limit, he didn't take into consideration her health and well-being. There's so many like little moments that prove what he did wrong as a parent, but it also highlights everything that he's been doing right as a parent. And I think it's quite interesting because you keep thinking about the end. Like, that's all we think about, the end of the Golem's lifespan. And Golems are generally created, so maybe by the time the show is over, maybe Somali will be able to make a new Golem out of parts that he has. Maybe that's something that could happen. Maybe that's a way that they could continue to be together forever, and it wasn't technically a lie, just maybe it was warping the truth in some way. Maybe there's a way for a golem to extend its life that we don't know about, because golems are driven by logic, so they've never had a real reason to continue because there's always going to be another golem. But if you're a golem parent, maybe there's a reason for you to break away from your logic-driven path. Like, there's obviously ways that they could write the golem to live. There's obviously reasons they could write the golem to still be with Somali, whether that be in spirit or literally creating another golem out of him or something like that, keeping on his memory. There's tons of way for it to go, but I'm just happy that even if it does become a lie that was for her own benefit, or it actually becomes the truth that we can't see coming, that moment where they truly embrace each other as parent and child and not be separated by human and golem relationships really says everything that I think episode 4 needed to say. And literally, we're only a third of the way through this first season here, and it felt like we just reached the conclusion of a season, right? It just feels like so much has happened over 4 short episodes, and it's so amazing. I think just having this like wolf-looking creature, I'm gonna keep calling him a wolf. He's not technically a wolf, but he kind of looks like a wolf. I like how he is just kind of like one of the guardians, one of the travelers who goes deep into these caves and admits, like, we haven't even gone everywhere. You guys are stupid if you really want to go find the most nutritious flower. But the fact that it's not like he's never been in these caves, and the fact that he sees some determination in this girl's eyes, he recognizes that this isn't probably a minotaur, whether he knows it's a human or not remains to be seen. And the fact that she's traveling with a golem and really wants a wish, I think he just kind of recognizes, especially based on his dialogue towards the end of the episode, he's met a golem who was on his deathbed, right? So I think that's why he decided, like, okay, it's stupid, but this girl has a dream and I'm not going to be the bearer of bad news, right? And I like how they really were just pushing, and you're just seeing so much beautiful imagery and just, like, once again highlighting how good of detail is put into this world. You don't even need to really like have dialogue or like info dump be popped up. You can just look at anything on screen and you can feel like this is one of the most living and breathing environments in recent memory. Literally everywhere you look, whether it be food, whether it be a creature we haven't seen before, everything about this, it feels so well thought out that you're actually sucked into a world. It's not just an anime backdrop or things like that. And one of my favorite moments in this episode is when Somali's picking a flower and you get this like lizard looking creature and it just stares her down. Now, it gets talked about how it's kind of like the guardian and it kind of decides whether the wish is true. Obviously, we don't really know if wishes exist in this world or not, but what I like is how they detailed it in a very animalistic way where animals, whether we can actually talk to them or not, it doesn't matter because there's like a universal language that all living creatures have, and that's feelings. You can really tell based on hostility or love or whatever it is, what someone's intentions are. That's why a dog, even if you've never met the dog before, can say, should I growl or should I not growl at you? Should I let you pet me? Things like that. Because it's all about how a human interacts with someone. And this little girl holding a flower showed no malice, right? It's pure love, and that's why this loving parent lizard creature decided to let her pass. Whether that actually means the wish will come true or not is kind of irrelevant. It just once again shows about the parent love and just kind of ties together to the bigger theme. And just watching Aquila and her just kind of travel and really just build this friendship that is so adorable, and I love it so much. I thought they would be very disposable when we first got introduced to them, but just seeing how much of a friendship they've built, it's kind of like, okay, you know, if the golem really does have to die, make sure she comes back to Kikila or something, because this family is just so great. And I love how they've kind of built this like miniature extended family that you never knew you wanted to see, but we're so happy in seeing it. And just all the adorable moments throughout the episode. Of course, you knew you were going to get some heartbreak eventually, and we did get that, and I absolutely loved it. But it was nice to see all of the adorableness, whether that be from the golem side or just the general friendship and kind of traveling side, which was fantastic. And something I really want to highlight with this episode in particular is the golem's expressions. Now, the golem literally doesn't change his face. He's literally a decaying face, and his voice rarely fluctuates. He rarely changes because he's a logic-driven machine by all rights of the definition. What I love is there's so many shots in this episode that highlights the difference in his expressions without actually changing his expressions. And one of the best examples is this. You have something that looks pretty much emotionless, as if he's just saying, you're a bad girl, I'm disappointed in you, and it's just pure logic, yet it does look menacing. And then you see this transition when he realizes, oh shit, I have to get medicine, and it's like, holy shit, that actually looks like a worried parent. Nothing about his face has changed, but just the slight shift in perspective and shot composition makes him look either like a menacing parent or a loving parent. And that says a hell of a lot, because they could have easily just went in keeping his face and just the way they stylized the shots to just feel like the same bullshit time and time again. But the fact that they do these slight alterations to the shots overall, it makes it feel either like he's a caring parent, a menacing parent, or someone who just doesn't know what he's in for. And emotionless characters can be very hard to design to be compelling, but it obviously helps that we have this adorable child interacting, so it kind of counterbalances everything out. But the fact that with the way he slightly fluctuates, it's not a lot, but there's enough fluctuations that when he is supposed to be menacing, you actually can feel it. And then just the way they simply stylize these shots, there were so many times I'm like, holy shit, this looks like a worried parent, but nothing about his face or body really has changed, just he's running or something like that. It's so well done, and I really appreciate those slight details to really get across how strong of a parent and child relationship this truly is. And I love how I can walk out this episode with the idea of the promise, knowing logically there's probably a 90%, maybe even a 99% chance that this golem is going to die by the time the story wraps up. And I'm not saying by the time this anime wraps up, because it is an ongoing source material, I know. Unless they go completely anime original, I don't think we're going to have a conclusion. But by the time the story ends, I'm sure the golem is going to die. However, this episode, it gave me that hope. It gave me that like 1%, even 0.1% chance of what if there is a way for a golem to extend its life? What if there's a way for this golem to become another golem, right? There's always that what if, and I like how, because golems are so driven by logic, there would be no real logical reason for a golem to continue. You could argue, well, if a golem continued longer, then they could serve the forest even longer. But if golems are made to serve the forest for a set amount of time, logic would say, your time's over, pass the torch. But now that he's kind of breaking away from that path and is discovering emotions and is loving this child, maybe there would be a way to extend his life to match her own or something like that. Obviously, I hope they could find that, because this episode really shows how great of a relationship they have been forming, and I'd love to see it continue. But obviously, if they decide to actually end his life in a year for their time, I wouldn't be shocked and I wouldn't be disappointed. I would just be sad. And I love that feeling of not totally knowing, even though logically I know he probably is going to go out, still not knowing where they truly want to go with that relationship. And this episode hit all the right notes. It was beautiful, it was emotional, it was sad, it was happy, it wrapped everything up and just melts your heart in so many ways. This show is so well done, the production is just outstanding, and the fact that I can look at such a mechanical creature becoming such a loving parent and willing to spend all the money that he's been saving and being fine with waiting even longer despite knowing his clock is running out, that says everything about this show. It is so remarkable, and I love it every single week. I can't wait for episode 5. I don't know where they want to go next. I don't know if we're going to still focus on this location. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a time skip so he has money again. Nonetheless, this was fantastic. One of the best episodes, damn near perfect episode, I'd go as far to say. What did everyone think? For source material readers, anime originals like myself, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. And remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.